The boy who healed. What would you do if a 9-year-old kid in duct-taped boots claimed he could heal your child? And he was right. It was cold that morning in Birmingham, Alabama. People rushed in and out of the Children's Medical Center, bundled against the chill. But one person wasn't moving. Ezekiel, Zeke Carter, just 9 years old, sat on a flattened cardboard box near the revolving doors, drawing quietly in his weather-beaten notebook. His coat was too big, sleeves rolled up, and one boot had duct tape across the toe. He didn't beg, didn't ask for help, just sat there watching people come and go. Across the street, Jonathan Reeves sat in his Range Rover with his daughter, Isla, 6 years old. Her eyes were wide open, but she didn't say a word. The accident had changed everything. One minute she was climbing trees, the next she was paralyzed from the waist down. Jonathan carried her toward the entrance. He didn't notice Zeke at first, but Zeke noticed him. Just before they passed, he stood up and called out, "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again." Jonathan stopped mid-step, not because he was offended, but because of how the words were said. Soft, clear, serious, like Zeke believed it completely. "What did you just say?" "I can help her walk again." Jonathan stared at the boy's taped-up boot, the cracked glasses. "That's not funny, kid. I wasn't joking." Zeke's voice didn't shake. Jonathan walked inside without another word. But he couldn't stop thinking about it, the way the kid said it, not with hope or doubt, but like it was fact. Hours later, stepping out after Isla's appointments, Jonathan saw Zeke again. Still there, same box, same notebook. Looking right at Jonathan like he knew he'd come back. Jonathan approached. "Why would you say something like that?" "My mama used to help people walk again," Zeke said quietly. "She was a physical therapist. She taught me stuff. She said the body remembers things, even when it forgets for a while. So you watched her do some stretches and now you think you're a doctor." "I watched her help a man walk after being in a chair for 5 years. She didn't have machines or nurses, just her hands, her patience, and faith." Jonathan glanced around. A nurse waved at Zeke. A janitor nodded. They all seemed to know him. "I'm not giving you money," Jonathan said. "I didn't ask for money." "Then what do you want?" "Just 1 hour. Let me show you." Jonathan looked back at Isla, who was watching both of them quietly. He sighed. "Fine. Harrington Park tomorrow, noon. Don't be late." That night, Isla asked her father, "Who was that boy?" "Just somebody we met. He looked like he believed it," she said. "That I could walk." Jonathan stared at her. She smiled and walked her fingers across the armrest of her wheelchair like they were legs. For the first time in a long time, something inside him didn't feel numb. It felt dangerous, like hope. The next day at Harrington Park, Zeke was already there with a small gym bag. He pulled out socks, a tennis ball, cocoa butter, and warm rice wrapped in cloth. "What is all that?" "Stuff my mom used. The rice is for heat, helps loosen tight muscles." Zeke knelt beside Isla's chair, placing the warm rice pack over her thighs. After a few minutes, he began gently moving her legs, small rotations, nothing forced. "You ever do this before?" Jonathan asked suspiciously. "My mama used to take me to shelters after school. She helped veterans, folks who couldn't afford therapy. Said everybody deserves to feel human again." Zeke tapped lightly on Isla's knee. "You feel that?" "No," she whispered. "That's okay. I'll keep asking." He kept talking to her while working, asking about her favorite colors, food, shows. Then she started asking him questions. "Do you go to school?" "I used to." "Why not anymore?" Zeke hesitated. "My mom got sick, then she passed. Been trying to figure things out since." "I'm sorry." After 30 minutes, Zeke tapped her ankle again. "You feel that?" Isla blinked. "A little, like pressure." Jonathan straightened up. Zeke gave him a knowing look. "Sometimes kids get scared of machines. They tighten up. But here, there's air, trees. Feels different." Before leaving, Jonathan tried to give Zeke money. The boy stepped back. "No sir, I don't want your money." "Then why are you doing this?" Zeke shrugged. "Because your daughter smiled." The following Sundays became routine. Same time, same place. Zeke taught Isla rubber band exercises, rolled tennis balls under her feet, showed Jonathan pressure points. Each week, Small progress. Then came the bad day. It was the fourth Sunday. Isla wasn't smiling. Her eyes were red. She doesn't want to do it today, Jonathan said sharply. She tried moving her legs this morning and nothing happened. She's tired of trying. Zeke knelt beside her. You think I never get tired? You think I didn't sit in a shelter and cry when my mom couldn't afford medicine and I had to just watch? Her eyes shifted toward him. You're allowed to be mad. But if you stop now, the part of you that wants to walk might stop trying too. I'm scared, Isla whispered. I am too. But scared don't mean stop. It just means you're close to something big. Okay, let's try again. After 30 minutes, Isla moved her right foot. Not a toe, her whole foot. It slid forward, slow and stiff, but it moved. Jonathan knelt beside her, blinking. Do it again. She did. Word spread. The next Sunday, 2 other families waited at the park. Then 5 families. Then 11. A local pastor brought folding chairs. A diner dropped off bagels and coffee. Somebody printed flyers. Free movement classes, Sundays at noon. A reporter wrote a piece. 9-year-old with a gift helps dozens heal in City Park. Jonathan asked Zeke if he wanted to come stay with them. Zeke hesitated, then nodded. The days that followed were quiet but meaningful. Zeke got his own room, clean sheets, a desk. He never missed a morning stretch with Isla. She was moving both feet now. One night, Jonathan said, "You ever think about going back to school?" "Sometimes. You're smart. You could go far. I want to help people walk again like my mama did. Then let's figure out how to get you there." It had been 9 Sundays. 9 Sundays of small victories. But this Sunday was different. When they arrived, a small crowd had formed. Zeke unpacked his bag and looked at Isla. "You ready?" She nodded. Serious. Determined. Jonathan placed his hands under her arms. Zeke guided her legs. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan lifted. Zeke steadied her knees. And then she stood. Her legs trembled, but she was up. The crowd fell silent. "I'm standing," Isla whispered. Zeke blinked. "Yeah, you are." Jonathan let go. She stayed up. Then she took one shaky step. Then another. Then a third, before falling into her father's arms. He caught her, laughing, crying. "You did it. You really did it." Isla turned to Zeke. "You said I would." He gave her a small grin. "I said we'd try." That night, Jonathan placed a hand on Zeke's shoulder. "My daughter walked today, not because of a hospital or a doctor. She walked because a kid with nothing decided to show up again and again. That's what my mom would have done. I wish she could have seen this." "She did," Zeke said softly. "I think she sees everything. There are people in this world who might not have fancy degrees or a perfect past, but they carry something far more valuable: heart, grit, and a reason to keep showing up. Sometimes the most broken people are the ones holding the tools to help others heal. If you know a kid like Zeke or a girl like Isla, tell them this: you matter. You're needed." The world has a habit of measuring people by the wrong things. It looks first at resumes instead of resilience, at records instead of redemption, at scars instead of strength. Too often, it decides who matters based on what can be proven on paper, forgetting that some of the strongest qualifications are invisible. Courage doesn't come with a certificate. Compassion isn't taught in lecture halls. And purpose is rarely born from comfort. There are people who wake up every morning carrying more weight than anyone can see. They've stumbled. They've failed. They've lived through moments they wish they could erase. Yet somehow, they still show up. Still care. Still choose to stand when it would be easier to disappear. That choice alone makes them extraordinary. Pain has a way of sharpening the soul. Those who've known loss often recognize it in others without a word being spoken. Those who've felt powerless understand the urgency of protection. And those who were once overlooked become the fiercest advocates for anyone standing on the margins. They don't help because it looks good. They help because they remember what it felt like to need someone, and find no one there. Some people don't fix the world with big speeches or polished titles. They do it quietly, in hallways, on sidewalks, in moments when no one is watching. They kneel down to meet someone at eye level. They listen instead of dismiss. They stay when others walk away. And in those small, unrecorded acts, lives begin to change direction. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like patience when frustration would be justified. Sometimes it looks like gentleness from someone who has every reason to be hard. And sometimes it looks like refusing to let another person feel as alone as you once did. That kind of strength doesn't announce itself, but it lasts. Children especially feel the absence of belief. They absorb doubt long before they understand language. When the world treats them like a problem instead of a possibility, it reshapes how they see themselves. That's why a single moment of being taken seriously can echo for years. One adult choosing to listen can become the memory that keeps a child from giving up later in life. Not everyone who changes a life wears a badge or a white coat. Some wear regret. Some carry stories they never tell. Some are still healing themselves. But healing others doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. It requires showing up with honesty instead of authority, with empathy instead of ego. There is a quiet power in saying, "I see you," and meaning it. In creating safety where fear once lived. In reminding someone that their existence is not an accident, their struggle is not a sentence, and their future is not already written. People don't need to be saved as much as they need to be believed in. The most meaningful guidance often comes from those who learned the hard way. Their advice is practical, not theoretical. Their warnings are real, not rehearsed. They don't speak from above, they speak from beside you. And because of that, their words land differently. They carry weight. Hope is contagious when it's lived instead of preached. When someone who has fallen still stands with integrity, it sends a powerful message. Survival is possible, and so is growth. When someone chooses kindness after being hurt, it proves that pain doesn't have to be passed down. Somewhere right now, there are young people wondering if they are invisible, replaceable, or already written off. They're waiting, not for perfection, but for proof that someone believes they're worth the effort. And often, the people best equipped to offer that proof are the ones who once needed it most. The truth is, the world doesn't heal through flawless heroes. It heals through real people who refuse to let brokenness be the end of the story. Through those who turn their scars into signposts, pointing others towards something better. Through hearts that stay open even after being bruised. And if you're someone who has been underestimated, discounted, or defined by your worst moment, understand this: your story isn't finished. What you've survived may be the very thing that allows you to stand in someone else's darkest moment and help them find their way out. Sometimes the people who feel the most damaged are the ones holding the strongest light. That light matters, and so do you.